What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we are in Project Cars 2 today, and we're going to be doing a couple different cars for a mixed class vintage race here at Oulton Park Circuit. You don't really see this circuit a lot. It's a really fun one to run, especially this style of car, because they're not super fast. It's a short enough circuit, you can get a decent amount of laps in it, and it's got enough technical bits that it makes the cars really fun and exciting to drive. I've actually been wanting to film a video with this car for a few days. I had actually never tried the Mercedes 300SL till like 4 or 5 days ago. And as soon as I drove it, I knew I wanted to make a video on it just because it's a really fun but difficult car to drive. And you'll kind of see what I mean as we progress, and I'll kind of explain why as we go into it. One of the things that makes this car so difficult to drive is the fact that it is manual steering, so in the game it is actually pretty accurate how that would feel. It's super heavy, really resistant, although it does feel a little heavier than most of the manual steering cars I've ever got the chance to drive in real life. Oh! We're just going to keep going since it's just the very beginning of the race. That was a really nasty move there by the AI. Tells me I'm clear of him, and then the guy peeks his head back in and just about causes a huge wreck.
On the left side.
Forced him to go out a little bit after that. But the other thing that really makes this car really difficult to get around the track without spinning or having any real issues is because it is an older car, it takes a while for the gear to engage. So when you're downshifting, you gotta really time your throttle right for heel toes. Otherwise, you end up blipping too early before the gear actually engages, and you still end up blocking the rear tires. You gotta really slow down a lot of the movements you would normally do. That's a lot of what makes these old race cars so much fun to drive in any sim, is they're just so quirky compared to newer cars, and you gotta really learn the car to be able to even get it around the track, not just get it around the track fast. Then you add that in with the little tricky up-down elevations, how hilly and bumpy this track is, and it just really makes for an extremely entertaining and interesting race to do.
Too wide, left side. Still on your left. Okay, clear, you're good.
And even though this car doesn't really seem like it has that much power, it does have a good enough torque curve, and the power does come on at the right time, where if you're giving this thing just a little too much throttle out of corners, it will slide out to the point where you're just not going to be able to recover it. It's going to snap really quickly on you. The AI in front of us is really brave for taking this thing onto the curbs that far. This car does not agree with most of the curbs that I've even attempted to touch with it in this thing. It gets real slippy really fast. Now, to be completely honest guys, I'm not expecting the greatest finish here. If we can actually manage to get to the end of the race and maintain where we're at right now, I would honestly be happy. Because this is a really tricky car to get through even a 15-minute race against AI that do things like that right there, and just make this car even that much more difficult to drive.
Left side. Okay, clear.
Being that their AI probably could have went ahead and made that move work up the inside, but try to keep this race as clean and drive as realistically as possible for it. Now I'm hoping here towards the end, those Astons will end up making up enough ground, they'll start making their appearance here towards the back markers and start making their way through their grid. Because they are quite a bit faster. In my practice, I did run into them sort of towards the end of the race, but I think partially that was because I got spun out by the AI. and just kind of got really pushed back in the pack.
Watch your right.
If I can make this move on the outside work, I will be amazed. Gotta be careful coming over there so we don't spin.
Left side. You're good, all clear.
I don't think there was any contact there. I didn't feel anything, but I thought for sure there was going to be with the way he was kind of going out to the outside of that corner.
Half length behind. 1 length behind.
This is definitely a car and driving style that really demands you to be paying attention the entire time of what the car is doing and to just drive it as smoothly as possible. This thing really does not respond to any kind of super aggressive and just snappy movements. Usually that's what ends up sending you off into a slide off track or spinning out. If you pay attention to the throttle percentage down there in the speedometer as I'm coming out of corners, you can really see me feathering into the throttle and slowly picking up more and more. And waiting till we're actually pretty much completely straightened out before I even get near full throttle on most of these corners.
Great job out there, great move. Nice one, a new PB.
Come on, don't slow down too much on me here. You'll end up making the rear end snap around on me.
Car on your left. Nice, clear. 1 length back.
And if you watch back through that section there, as I was coming through there, you can really see the throttle management coming into play to keep this car from sliding off the track on me. Same goes for braking too. I try to be as easy as I can to be coming off the brakes and really even getting on them just to keep the car from weight transferring too much and causing me to lose any more traction than necessary.
Right side. Nice one, you're clear.
This track surface is just so aggressive in this car. I've drove GT3 cars and a few other cars here quite a bit. And it was pretty noticeable that it was a very bumpy circuit even in them, but it really shows in this thing. And he just about took both of us out. I'm glad I just kind of backed off there. Oh, there's a good example of what happens when you don't give it enough throttle for long enough on a downshift.
Remaining.
Ooh, a little sideways there. Now to be fair, this is a car you can drive like that. You can oversteer it around a lot of corners and it does respond fairly well a lot of times. But you have to be very precise and really just be gentle on correcting the car or else you will lose it.
Still left. You're in a good position to take him. Don't take too many risks, but try squeezing past when you can. All good, you're clear now. He's 2 lengths back.
That was super sketchy. I'm not gonna lie, I did not think it was gonna stop rotating on me.
That is your fastest first sector time. Keep it up.
Got on the brakes when I was still a little turn there, and it did not like that. The car just feels like it's actually starting to get even slipperier on me though, which is really odd. My tire temps still look like they're okay. although they might be cooling down a little bit. They do have time progression on, so the track surface is cooling down, and as you can see what I was saying about that hill being so deadly right there, it just about got me that time.
1 length behind.
Yeah, I'm definitely losing traction with the car. It's getting super, super slick around the corners. Looks like I'm going to have to really just baby this thing here for these last 5 minutes of the race. There's nothing I can really do about this. I cannot get the tires to really warm back up, I don't think, because we are progressing through the day and we are losing track temp. You can really see how badly it just wants to get out on me though, coming around some of these corners. If I can manage to get to the finish line without spinning this thing, with how these tires are starting to act, I will honestly be completely amazed with myself. Like that right there got super sketch for a second. Oh, it looks like we have some of the Astons starting to make their way through now. I knew it would be somewhere near the end of the race.
4 minutes remaining.
Hopefully I can just get up here to where I can get to a spot where it'll be easy for them to get past me and not have too much inner fighting between classes. I really don't want to get in their way and slow them down, because I know it'll most likely end up with me getting into a wreck.
Blue flag, here come the race leaders. Let them through. You've got one on your right. He's clear.
Rather just take it nice and slow and be super cautious, at least since they're AI. If I was racing against real people, I wouldn't be so worried about it. But you can never be sure of what the AI is going to do coming up behind you like that in faster cars.
3 minutes to go.
And with how tight that corner is, it's not really a section you want to try chancing that type of thing.
Right side. He's cleared you.
Oh! Oh, that could have gone real bad for me. I was really hoping he wasn't going to try to overtake me there, because I knew this car was going to get super swirly around that corner.
He's clear. He's on your right. He's cleared you.
Luckily, most of the grid has already made their way past now.
He's clear.
Called him push me around just a little bit there, I think. Could have been the curbing too. Now that takes care of all of them. Now I just gotta worry about staying ahead of those guys coming up behind me that are actually in the same class. This thing is getting super, super skatey in the rear end. That was so sketch. I'm sure it'll look good on the replay, but I was not really prepared for that to happen.
First sector you've done so far. Great job.
If the steering in this thing wasn't as heavy as it was, I don't feel like it would be as, like, terrifying when the rear end does come loose on you, but it's so heavy and hard to recover. It just gets me, like, right on the edge of my seat every time I feel that rear end start to loosen up on me in the wheel. Oh, that almost did it there. I was trying to take it easy on the turn in and exit so I wouldn't understeer and slide off, and ended up on the curb and the rear end didn't like it. I don't understand. I feel like I'm going so much slower than I was those first couple laps, but it's probably because I just don't have anybody in front of me really anymore slowing me down. That honestly could actually be part of my issue I'm having with my tires and them feeling like they're losing traction. It could just be I'm driving that much faster and I'm not realizing it because there's no traffic in front of me. Of course I would lose sound coming into like the sketchiest corner to take in this car. You can really see when this thing slides out and you do get it corrected straight out just how snappy this car really is. Oops, wrong gear. I thought that was supposed to be the end of the race too because we came around the finish after the 0 mark, but I guess it probably is because we're a lap down from the Astons. I didn't actually think about that. Oh, way too fast, way too fast. Leave it to me to go all the way to the very last lap and then start doing stuff like this. I just saw a cone go flying. I must have had one stuck under the car or something because I look in the rearview mirror and I just saw an orange cone bouncing down the track behind us. I was gonna say, I don't know how far away that car that's actually in first in our class is at, but he's gonna be a ways up there. But I did just see him coming around this corner as I was getting near it. I think the rest of us just got too slowed down in the back behind the rest of them. Well guys, I gotta say, I honestly did way better than I was expecting to in this race. Although I did have a little more practice than I intended to as well. You can see that little altercation I had with that other car there and how it almost caused a lot more chaos. We didn't really take much damage, he just like barely bumped me, but it was enough to really send me flying. But anyways guys, if you have not gave this car a chance yet, which is probably unlikely unless you're like me and you just have never bothered to try driving it. You've been focused more on the actual newer race cars here in credit cars too. I really recommend you guys go out and race this thing a little bit. It's just a ton of fun, a completely different style of car than just about anything else I've ever drove in sim. Like I said, it does have similarities to other cars of the era in terms of its overall handling characteristics. It still is definitely its own car and it's just a really quirky, fun car to drive. It really takes some time and practice with the car to learn the nuances of it to be able to drive it properly and actually get it around without any wrecks. Which you could probably tell during this race. I made a decent amount of mistakes. I didn't really do anything too serious till that last lap, which I thought was supposed to be the end of the race, so we just won't talk about that. But besides that, it's just a really great handling car that's got so much history to it. It's kind of a crime not to get it out once in a while and do a race with it. Anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit that like button down below, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.